Good evening, world. Welcome to Jews Word Podcast. Tonight's episode is going to be about generational curses. We're going to speak on generational curses. We're going to break it down to really unpack what is a generational curse. But before we dive head in, we're going to take time to really analyze and think about. Everybody's generational curses are not the same. It could be similar tactics, it could be similar characteristics. But I went down a deep wormhole about it because in order for us to advance in life, we're going to have to heal our childhood trauma and break those generational curses. First off, what is really a generational curse? What is a generational curse? When you think about generational curse, is it spiritual? Is it psychological? Is it behavioral? Is it truly a curse, or is it something that our parents did not address or change their behavior in? We need to sit down and really think about that. Is generational curse spiritual, psychological? Is it behavioral? Or is it even truly a curse? Or is it just a repeat pattern that nobody has confronted in their life? It's basically why you have to break the generational curse, because your parents before you didn't break the generational curse. For us fellas, it'll be what our fathers didn't correct. The lessons he didn't learn. So it falls to us to make the correction before we pass it along to our kids. So it's so important, fellas, if you have sons, if you have daughters, if you have children as a whole, especially fellas if you have sons, make sure that you're undoing them generational curses that your father didn't correct and his father didn't correct. But it falls to you to correct it so your sons don't have to have a dog in that fight and what to deal with. What up, Ken? Appreciate you tapping in. Look up. This is episode 51 of Juice Word Podcast. We are talking about generational curses. And we breaking down really, is it really a curse? Is it spiritual? Is it psychological? Is it behavioral? Or is it just a learned pattern that our parents never adjusted? It just falls for us to adjust and address. You see what I'm saying? I've been chewing on this for a while because I did a reel about this a while before. And ever since I did that reel, I just went down a wormhole about it. And I felt it came up for me to do the live about it. I was like, yeah, I've been waiting on to do this one. This is really deep. So I hope that y'all got your popcorn. You know what I'm saying? This is all about faith, love, like 100% truth, raw, unedited. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're gonna speak the truth. We're gonna address uncomfortable situations and things that we're scared to address. That's what it's all about. Communication, taking accountability. That's what it's all about. So I jotted down a few notes, and I was thinking, a generational curse isn't magic. It's a pattern that nobody had the courage to interrupt. And you think about it, that right there, just simple. Nobody thought to interrupt it. You think about it, and think about some of the things that you know about your father and things that he dealt with, and look at yourself. See, oh dang. I see where I get it from. I see how this is, you know what I'm saying? I see why this is an issue I need to address, yes. Not much, cuz, working, taking care of the kids, out the way. The best way to be, out the way, cuz. But yes. So when you think about it, you got to identify your patterns. It's not magic, it's just a pattern. It's an addiction. It's something that they clung to and they held to, whether it was something that they did, a spiritual clinging, a mental clinging, or even a behavioral thing to cope for uncomfortable situations. Good evening. Appreciate you tapping in. I appreciate your love. Y'all tap the screen, share with a friend. Let me get into you guys' algorithm so we can share this wealthy knowledge and wisdom. Let's do that. Let's definitely do that. But yeah, you have to identify it as a pattern. And these are some of the examples that I jotted down. Like, it could be a poverty mindset. Your folks was negative, so you negative. Emotionally unavailable. You always disconnected because you never experienced that connection in life. So it's like you've always been disconnected. So that's like you said, that's generational. You think about generational curse, yeah, that's a good example. Emotional unavailability. You cling to your parents' mantras of what they tell you. Hey, a man ain't, a woman ain't, and it's just like, okay, don't trust nobody. And it's like I say, it's all about how you were raised and what your parents set in your standards in your household that made it law. That's what it's all about. It can be addictions. We've all had parents, you know, I've had friends whose parents had a drinking addiction or whatever. You know, that happens. So you have to understand that. They have to make a choice in their life to be like, hey, I'm not going to go down that path. I'm going to decide to do something different. You see what I'm saying? So that's why it's so important. These generational curses are really, really throughout our whole life. We don't realize it's a generational curse, but it's best that we really take time to acknowledge that. Like jealousy within families, family drama, always a family drama. That's a generational curse. If you let that start in your family, when you start your own family or you feed into it, that's a generational curse. You got to break that curse. You don't want your family to be at odds at all times. It's always a family union, always drama. Like, if you don't take care of that and separate yourself from that, that could be a generational curse. The fear of success. Always making excuses why you can't take the extra step. You can't step out on faith. You can't do something. Their vocabulary is always, I can't do it. You're scared to succeed. And also lack of discipline. It takes a lot to change your mindset in order to acquire a discipline. They would say we pray for things, but we don't understand. When we pray for wisdom, God is going to give us things and situations to where we have to use wisdom to get through those situations. You pray for patience, He's going to get some things that test your patience. You pray for love, you're going to experience everything that love isn't before you really realize what love is. Stony Andretti on Facebook said, battles that aren't realized until it's too late is one of the biggest problems in our community. Facts. Yes. Nobody wants to look at themselves. Everybody's scared to face themselves. Nobody wants to look like they're going through nothing. Nobody wants to look like they're struggling. Nobody wants to deal with their skeletons in their closet. They don't want to figure out their own identity. They just want to clout chase and be with all the hype. That's how it is. That's why the world looks like the way it is. Nobody's taking accountability for their own identity, who God made them to be. Like I said before, going through life, you're going to acquire different things and traits and stuff to protect yourself, to assume this personality and persona that you want to have. But when it comes down to it, and you have to take that journey and you're having to look at yourself in the mirror, He's going to strip all of those weapons that you picked up along the way, and you're not going to have nothing. You're going to have to stand there and understand and grow and lean in. That's the biggest thing. And that's not an easy journey. That's not an easy thing to do. I get it. I understand. That's not an easy journey. But it's all about what you want for yourself. How bad do you want to be a better person? How bad do you want to reach that next level? How bad do you want to be successful? How bad do you want to have a peaceful life? Have your wife and children with no drama? Your family stay together, no broken homes. You think about all that stuff that we experience in life. We experience all these things in life. And a lot of things that we didn't even ask for. A lot of things we didn't even ask for. But it's up to us to understand our weaknesses in our whole totality and understand what our darkness consists of. If we can't understand what our darkness consists of, our weaknesses, the things that will push us over the edge to make us crash out, you cannot let nobody control your energy. Protect your peace, your love, your joy, and your energy. Protect all of those. Those are more important than anything you can ever buy in this world. More important. Peace, love, joy. Those things right there, man, you need all of those to survive in life, to excel in life. So we're talking about generational curses, right? But we're not blaming parents. This is not a parent bashing session or nothing like that, no. We acknowledge what was normalized in our households, I'll say that. We're actually acknowledging what's normalized in our households. That's what generational curses are. It's normalcy in your household, and you feel like that's law. Until you get into the word, you realize, yeah, I might need to take a look at that. Let me take a second look at that, because that ain't cool. We all have to understand that it's an uncomfortable process. You can't grow. You cannot grow. You cannot grow in a comfortable place. You cannot grow in a comfortable place. You have to grow in an uncomfortable environment. I saw a video the other day, and it was a Bruce Lee. I love Bruce Lee. He said your best work will go unnoticed. He said your best work you will ever put in on yourself will go unnoticed, because character building is built in private, not public. True character work, true character building exercises are built in private, not in public. This is very important, it's very vital, and very imperative, y'all, that we take time to acknowledge the things that we need to change, because it affects us, it affects our kids, it affects our job, it affects our friends, it affects our circle, it affects our very existence. And if we don't acknowledge it, that's how we miss the mark on things. Imagine if we would have never not understood to pray for wisdom. But we had none of the generational curses blocking us. Let's just say we never had those in our way. How far would we have been? How far would we have made it to accomplish what we wanted to accomplish in our life? With no fear, nothing stopping us. But why can't we walk in that now? We definitely need to. Because it's no way, form, or fashion that you think lowly of yourself. You get up every day to make sure you go to work every day, right? There's confidence knowing that, okay, I gotta go. Let me get up and get myself together so I can get to work. There's confidence in yourself knowing that every day, hey, but you're speaking that. You're speaking that. So it's very important that we watch what we speak. It's very important that we take a look, take a step back. It's all smokes and mirrors. Everything is smoke and mirrors. If you know, you know. The best thing to do is find something to hold on to that's peaceful, that's loving, and that it puts you at a place where you can elevate it and in the betterment of yourself. If you find a little gap of peace in this terrible time right now, that's the best thing to do. That's how you're going to have to break your generation. You're going to have to isolate. You're going to have to put in some major shadow work. That's the main thing, because you have to quiet the noise on the outside. You have to quiet the noise. If you don't quiet the noise, what are you healing? Your nervous system is your protector, and it helps you forget things when you go through traumatic events when they take place. But your nervous system is going to protect you until you're in a safe space in order for it to help you heal, right? So you have to be in a peaceful place. You have to have a safe space in order for you to heal. That's the only way. You can't heal in no toxic situation. You can't. And you can't heal while you on the BS. You can't. It's just accountability. And that's a lot of things that a lot of people are scared to really talk about, is accountability. That's basically what it is. We all have to take accountable for our actions. We all have to take accountability for the way that we think, the things that we speak out of our mouth, and the things that we carry. Even the people that have done us wrong, even the things that have been traumatic to us, we have to let that go. Because you're holding on to those things, whether it's a parent, whether it's a sibling, significant other, you holding on for what? The forgiveness is for you. It's not for them. It's for you. So you can roam freely through life and don't even worry about it. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. That's exactly what it's all about. We all have to take accountability for our actions. Like, we cannot get caught up in the fact of the matter, oh, I'm gonna blame my parents for this is what they didn't take care of, so I gotta do it. Okay, but what are you doing about it now? What are we doing about it now? Yes, it took place, okay. Us complaining about it is not gonna fix it, so we have to really do what we need to do. So, like I said, we're not blaming our parents. We talked before about tough love, the tough love that shaped us in different ways in our life. We've all received some tough love before, right? We're not tapped into victimhood with this. It's nowhere near or close to nothing near victimhood. This is just acknowledgement. This is shedding light to the things that we are scared to talk about, that people want to sweep under the rug. That's why we're having uncomfortable conversations. This is what this podcast is all about. Love, faith, and life. So, and it's the uncomfortable truth, and this is where it really gets heavy with us. And it was heavy for me. I had to sit with this and understand that sometimes we become the continuation of our generational curse. And we don't even much know it. We further in the process of pushing the generation forward instead of pushing it back. We carrying the torch like this the Olympics. We do that, and we also use trauma to excuse behaviors and doing certain things like, oh man, I don't trust nobody, I've been through too much. That's cool. Yes, you have been through a lot, but you can't use that as a crutch. You have to be accountable and hold your own feet to the fire. I can't use it as an excuse not to do whatever I want to do and not line up. Like, I can't do that because it defeats the purpose of the whole point of being on the journey. It definitely defeats the purpose. Healing is not an automatic thing either. The traumatic things that I've experienced in life, it's not an automatic thing. You have to push yourself. You have to be intentional. You have to be consistent. It's just like working out. You got to put in the work that push you towards healing. Whether it's getting out the house, whether it's going for a run, going to the gym, retail therapy, sips and strokes, going to watch movies, working on the car, playing a video game, doing yoga, whatever. Anything that brings you peace and joy and keeps you something you can cling to, right? That's what it comes down to. That's what it breaks down to. And you think about it too. When you're those generational curses, when you're identifying a generational curse, a lot of times it affects the connection and the relative situations between you and your family that helps everything smooth. Because when you're growing and you're looking at things from a different perspective, that generational curse may have a certain standard in your family, but your standard, you've already surpassed that generational curse. You was like, I don't identify with that. I don't like it. You just went along with it because you stayed in the household. It's still going to have to be the conversation that's going to be had about, hey, I don't agree with that. This was never part of my identity. This is part of your identity that you placed upon me. And eventually you're going to have a conversation with your parents or whomever it is to understand that, hey, that's not me. That's your ideology. That's not mine. And we tend, because I think we all grown up in church, right? Every Sunday, every Sunday school, every prayer meeting, Bible study, usher. How many people still go to church like that now? You see what I'm saying? I'm not saying that's a generational curse, but that's a generational thing that your generation with your family has done. Y'all always get up and go to church on Sunday. That's a pattern. So anything outside of that pattern, it could cause issues. Even within yourself. Because they can hinder you from enjoying life. You in this mindset, I have to go to church every Sunday, but now I can't take a vacation and enjoy time with my family because I was been programmed in my head, hey, I got to go to church every Sunday. I have to be in the choir. I have to be on the usher board. I have to do this. And you need to enjoy your life. You have to enjoy your life. That's not the life that God had for us. It's definitely not. And when you think about it, the things that you carry, the things that you've experienced, and you're having to deal with these things while your kids are watching 100%. Your kids are watching 100%. They are. And you're having to make decisions like, okay, I have to do this so they don't have to deal with this. I have to confront things and unpack. And you really look at it, a lot of us are carrying more than just one generation. Some people are carrying 3 and 4 generations. Trauma and emotional despair and things that have to be unpacked. We get caught up in the mantras. We get caught up in the things that were said in our household that was like law. But it's a system within a system within a system. That's why it's best that you do your own research. You explore life. You enjoy life. Learn what it is to be somebody who can be their full potential and their full self and live free. And live free. No guilt. Enjoy life. Live the way we were told by the Messiah that we're supposed to live. What he was trying to preach about before they took him to Calvary. This is what he was preaching about. He was breaking down systems. He wanted you to enjoy life and live to the fullest. That's what it's all about. Because everything that's grown don't mean it's right. Because grown is spelled wrong too. We listened to what the people said in our generations. We abided by everything they said and we moved. But when you get older, you start deciphering and breaking things down and you're like, well, dang. Well, I know better now. I'm not participating in that. You know, it's a real touchy subject when you think about it. It is a really touchy subject. It is. I'm sorry, y'all. These notes acting up. I'm trying to get these notes straight. Well, yes. You think about it. A lot of those mantras that we had with our family, that's normally what it is, though. And this hits your legacy vision heavy. All your ideologies of what you had. When I have kids, this is what I'm gonna do. When I have my son, when I have my daughter, this is how life is going to be structured. This is what this is going to be. We all have these plans, but that's not what God has for us. You see how you may experience your dad taking you to the park every weekend, going to play ball, and that feeling that you had, you felt like that was like the best thing ever. Thank you, Miss Patsy. I appreciate that. It's like the best feeling ever. And then when you're with your kids, you don't get the opportunity because that was something that wasn't supposed to be a generational carryover. That was just something that was set in place. Now it's time for you to do something different. You see what I'm saying? A lot of times that's how generational patterns, I'm not even going to say curse because I don't think it's a curse. I think it's a pattern that we acknowledge. Whether it's psychological, like I said, whether it's mental, or whether it's behavioral. How you treat your mom, how you treat your kids, how you raise your kids, how you discipline your kids, how you have an ideology about every little thing in life comes from religious constructs and social constructs. And what was normalized in your household? What was law? What's in your book of law what your parents raised you to believe? What's in your book of law? What is it? We really have to take time to think about that. Because we really do be the continuation of our generational curses. The trauma doesn't excuse the behavior. We have to move intentional when you want to heal. You got to move intentional. When you go through some traumatic, man, you gotta change some things up because you have to remove that out of your biofield, out of your energy field. You have to remove that. You have to. You have to. Because if you don't, man, listen, you'll be doing yourself a disservice. Like I say, some people benefit from you staying small. That could be a generational curse. You letting your family control you. That could be a generational curse. You have to break that curse. You have to live for you. You can't live for your parents no more. You can't live for nobody. You have to live for you. And people sadly mistaken to think that they can live through their kids. They need to be evaluated. You definitely need to. You need to take a look in the mirror and evaluate yourself. Because there's no way we can live through our kids. There's no way that nobody can live through us. It's no way that you can live your life through somebody else. Go through your own journey. It's your journey. Nobody can judge you. Don't worry about shrinking. Don't worry about nobody to think about you. Go through your journey. Address your weaknesses and turn them into your strengths. That's the big thing. That's the only thing we can do now. Look at it. Turn around and look at everything going around. You have nothing else to hold on to in this world. Nothing. Even though clocking up at 9 to 5 doesn't even guarantee you for real anymore. It's not. Listen. Appreciate life for what it is. Live in the moment. Work on yourself. You have to quiet the noise in order to understand what's your generational curses, your generational patterns. You have to get away from the loud noise. You have to get in a quiet place where it's just you and God. Because he's going to require your isolation. He's going to require your full existence and your full attention when it comes to you trying to elevate and you trying to to change your life around, and you're trying to get to a better version of yourself, a more higher conscious version of yourself. That's what it's going to require. Even when that's the same journey when going through breaking this generational curse, it's the same journey. It definitely is. But this is what generational curses look like, though. I jotted down a few more notes about what generational curses look like. Okay, you have therapy of self-reflection. You can go to therapy about things. If you don't feel like therapy is needed and you're better at self-reflecting, then do that. This is what works for you. Just because therapy works for one person doesn't mean it's going to work for you. But respect on both sides. Discipline over emotion. You may feel a certain way and you might be attached to this pattern and you struggle with it, then you have to undo it. You have to be disciplined over your emotions. You have to set boundaries. You're going to have to set boundaries with everybody. Everybody's going to have a boundary set. In order for you to rewrite your story or how you want it to look like instead of what your family told you your life was going to look like, you're going to have to separate. You're going to have to isolate. And they're not going to like it. But the ones who understand it and respect it are going to be your people. Saying no when your family culture says yes. Whatever your family culture is, whatever, it's a standard that's set that we all have to do this. It's okay with you getting married and having your own family, having your own family plans and not following in line with what y'all been doing since y'all was like 3 years old. You don't have to. That generational pattern. That's why, one thing about it, fellas, when you get married, you have to cleave to your wife. So all of those generational patterns that you had, and it's got to be in place, and I don't care if you get married or not, it's not going to change. Yes, it's going to have to change. It is. You have to cleave to your wife. You have to start your own culture. Nobody has ever displayed a full display of true love. Everybody may experience true love and seeing it. May not experience it, but seeing it. But as in a generational pattern of love, because I feel like it could be two sides to generational curses and generational patterns. It's different perspectives on how you look at it. You can't say generational curses are bad. You can be a generational pattern of your family, whole family being married and having successful marriages and successful careers. You see what I'm saying? That's a generational pattern. That's always a good thing that you want to have. It's always a good thing you want to have. But what works for you might not work for them. What works for them might not work for you. So you have to figure it out. That's why you should have to quiet the outside noise and get on your shadow journey. It's very important. Choosing peace over chaos. That's a big one for me. I don't know about y'all. If y'all like y'all vibe, feel interrupted. But I'm going to choose peace over chaos every day of the week. I don't care what it is. I don't care who it is. I'm not dealing with it. I'm not. Man, listen. Whoever. It don't matter. I'm not dealing with chaos now. But this is how you break a generational pattern, generational curse. You have to separate yourself from the outside noise. You have to get to a peaceful, quiet environment and meditate. Get a meditation life. Start reading a few books that's going to elevate your vernacular. Like, that's very important. Because your old habits and your old things that kept you comfortable through that journey of those, that journey you was on before you awakened and realized what you should have been doing. But those old activities that you helped cope with you through those rough times are not going to be valid anymore. Nothing in the past is going to be valid. Nothing. So when you're on the walk trying to undo generational curses and generational patterns, you're going to discover new things about yourself while you're healing yourself. You're going to find new interests, new hobbies, reading books, painting, going for walks. You might turn into a tree hugger. Shoot, I was sitting in the grass this morning. I ain't even going to lie to you, man. Listen. I was sitting out the grass with my shoes and socks off. They said, you got to get grounded. So I was grounded. Man, listen. Just enjoy new stuff, like research things that could be good to help you keep your mind out of an environment of the generational curse and the generational pattern. Just remove yourself from that environment. That's why I said it's going to require isolation. There's no way you could grow in a toxic environment. That's why a lot of people move away and get a fresh start. Brand new everything, new city. I don't blame them. I don't blame them. I understand. Sometimes you need that. from the small things to the big things. You might cut your hair. You might decide to grow your hair. You know what I'm saying? You might move, buy your new house. You know what I'm saying? People change things to try to break curses and patterns and everything that they feel like it's been in the mix of their biofield to hold them down and keep them missing the mark. Because you think about it, delayed gratification, emotional regulation. You get delayed gratification from when you're in the place and you've been in this place and it's just like, I ain't satisfied with this mode. Let me try this. And that's when you step into the light of trying to break a generational pattern or a generational curse. Then it's going to be a delayed gratification because you're not going to understand what you're doing until you get further along, and you're going to really realize and see how much you've grown. And when you realize the work that you put in and how much you've grown, that's when you're really going to look and be like, okay, this is uncomfortable, but I can see the progress that I'm making. I can see the progress that I'm making. This is something different than anything I've ever experienced. This is brand new everything, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically. Even my ideology is being challenged and changed. It's going to be uncomfortable. It is. And it's more so though I said love in this life is a faith walk. It's a choice. Love is a choice you make every day. Waking up to be the best version you can be of yourself every day is a choice. It's not automatic. It's not. If you're married, y'all been married 20 years, it's a choice. Y'all have to choose to love each other every day, even if y'all don't like each other at that moment, even if y'all can't stand each other at that moment, even if everything is rocky right now. But you know what Luther said, I'd rather have bad times with you than good times with somebody else. You have to look at it like that. Because nothing is going to be perfect. Ain't nothing going to be unicorns and rainbows. Ain't nothing sweet but the swishers. All right. If you know, you know. That's all I'm saying. Ain't nothing sweet but the swishers. But breaking the generational curse isn't dramatic. It's not. It took me to really think about how can you label that when you're breaking the generational curse. It's not a dramatic process. It's consistent and it's disciplined and it's boring. Because you're changing mindsets, you're going to switch your mindset. Anything that you did then, you're going to do the opposite now. You're going to stay at home, or you're going to be a homebody. You're going to be just picking up books, starting to read. You're going to find joy in ordering home appliances, or, you know what I'm saying, decorating your house, or going Groupon. And you know what I'm saying? You're going to find different hobbies outside of, hey, this is where I'm from, this is where I grew up. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's going to be outside of that perspective of what they painted, for you be able to like it, what you could participate in, and it not look weird, if that makes sense. Because I think everybody had that ideology of things coming up in school or whatever. They weren't finna say they was interested in some stuff. Be a whole Iron Chef at home. Homeboys don't know you cook. But you think about it though. What stops with you? When you're thinking about your generational curses, what stops with you? Everything that you know, if you took the time to identify what's the issues that you need to correct that plagued your dad, plagued your mother, or anything that you need to correct, what stops with you? And what starts with you? If you stop that, then what are you going to start? What are you going to replace it with? That's why it's best that we identify our darkness and name it. Because that means you can understand what all your darkness carries. You'll be able to identify, okay, yeah, so normally Saturday night, this is when I go out and be slaughterhouse shouty. Yeah, I don't need to work for that lifestyle. My dad, you know what I'm saying? Or my mom, or my granddaddy, or my cousin, or my uncle. You know what? I'm going to try to do something different. You see what I'm saying? So that's that split second that you really think about it. Like, we really have to dig deep and think about this stuff, because it's like, we got kids, and after your 21st birthday, life just sped up. Now you got kids, and they watching everything you do. They're watching everything you say. They're watching your energy. They're feeling your energy. They're checking you out. They're studying you. Everything you do, they're a little sponge. If you had to give your child an opportunity to receive the best advice from you and nobody else. But you have to let your child see you struggle. You have to see your fullness, your whole totality. Let your child see you. You're human, but it's okay. They didn't stop. You have to let your child see that side. Kids see that. If they can see your resiliency, they give them something. My dad just kept going. He kept fighting. He never stopped. And that means more to your kids, them seeing you do that than anything else. We have to realize that the smallest things impacts our kids, not just the money we spend, because we setting the standard for them. You really have to think about the things that you picked up, generational patterns, things that you carried, you carried the torch proudly coming from generational curses and patterns. But then when you realize you had to put that baton down and be like, dang, this ain't for me. Yeah, this ain't for me. Nah. I feel like it'd be something more than this. When you have those thoughts like that, you have to reevaluate every part of your life. You have to. It's no need not evaluating yourself. Because we're all, two things that the world is scared of. And I've been saying this for years now. Two things the world is scared of. Things that they can't control and things that they don't understand. A lot of people don't like change. But in this life, you got to roll with the punches. You never know what's going to happen. You could be good 2 days and now, boom, something tragic happening. You don't know what's up. You're trying to gather your bearings. That's why put your best effort in being the best version of yourself every day. No matter if somebody like it, no matter if it makes somebody feel some type of way, man, be you 100%. I think that this world, everything is so covered up and clapped out. Oh, it definitely clouded out. Nobody wants to be themselves anymore. Man, be yourself. Man, if you like to look at old Bob Ross videos, I Love Lucy, Mary Tyler Moore, whatever you like, whether you stay in the hood, the suburbs, or the project, it don't matter. Be you 100%. Live out loud, love out loud, laugh out loud, unapologetically. If they don't like you, they don't like you. Man, listen, we can't worry about what people think about us. You gotta move. You gotta walk with some authority. You gotta be able to hang your own. Like, I don't need no crew to validate me. I don't need no letters to validate me. You have to really think like that. Whether you join a sorority, fraternity, or whatever organization you want to join or not, but you got to understand you was a man before you put them letters on. You was a man before you put that radio on. You was a man before you, a lot of titles that you got. It's all about your internal foundation of love, peace. That's what it's all about. But we tend to miss that. You can't get too caught up in the hype of what everything's saying on social media and what's going on in the world. You can't. If you don't, you'll be lost. You'll never be satisfied. Trying to keep up with the trends? Man, listen. I don't care what Sally Sue doing. I don't care what Henry James doing. Boy got 2 first names, Henry James. I don't care what he doing. Man, listen. This is the best time. When all this is going on, this is the time. This is the Great Awakening. This is the time to evaluate ourselves, just evaluate what our family is built on, evaluate all the foundations of everything in your life. Question everything. Question everything. Question everything. Because it's always different perspectives. It's always different mindsets and different ideologies with certain things. That's why you cannot be closed-minded. Because one word has multiple meanings. So there's no point in getting caught up on, hey, this is what I was taught. This is how I'm going to live. You see how everything is coming out and unraveling, and history, his story. So what is your story? What is going to be your story? What stops with you and what starts with you? What are your kids going to inherit? Excuses or evolution? Food for thought. I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate it. It was a good show. I appreciate y'all tapping in and showing love. Episode 51 of Jews Work Podcast, year 2. Deeper conversations, man. Y'all check me out on all social media platforms. Man, this has been an incredible journey growing on this process and coming to you guys, being vulnerable and transparent, and giving you guys insight on when you deciding to take this walk and get into your shadow work. Like, I think that we all should take time away from outside, because you see the same thing over and over again. So when you want to get out of that loop, you're going to move different. When you want to see different and you want different for yourself, you're going to move different. It's very important that we move different than what the typical, what's the standard. I don't want to know another standard. We're going to redefine it every time. That's the whole point. But I appreciate all the love and the support, though. This has been a very, very challenging journey. And I want y'all to know that nothing in life is easy. Anything worth having, you're going to have to go through something to get to it. But it's okay, though. You can persevere through anything in life. Just don't stop. Don't quit. Just keep going. And we have to realize that. And a lot of times we get so caught up in the hype of what's being said or what's the standard. Oh, this is what this should look like. This is what that should look like. Man, redefine yourself to nobody's standard in this world. Live up to your own standards through God. Live up to his standards. Don't live up to his world standards. Because his world standards is a moving goalpost every single time. Every single time. That's why I say, don't get caught up in the hype, y'all. One thing about it, once you see what you see, you can't unsee. And once you know what you know, you just know. Protect your peace. Protect your love. I don't care if it's from family, friends, whomever it is, it doesn't matter. When you are trying to be a better version of yourself, everything is going to be a distraction. Everything is going to come at you. Everything. But you must recognize and pray for wisdom and discernment to acknowledge that this is a distraction. So you know what? I'm going to pivot. Can't worry about nothing. Just let it ride. Like my dad said, be like a duck in the rain. Never let them see you sweat. Just let it roll off your back. That's very important. That is very important. But like I said, what are your kids going to inherit? They're going to inherit your excuses, or they're going to inherit your evolution? That's a good question for real, though, y'all. Y'all take time to think about that. Accountability, accountability, accountability. That's the only way we can elevate, y'all. Accountability. But I appreciate y'all supporting me, though. This has been a beautiful journey. This has been a great ride. This has been a beautiful and great ride. I've learned a lot. I've grown a lot. Like, it's been worth it. Y'all stay tuned for more content. It's coming soon. Stay tuned for next week. Of course, I'm going to be on live Sunday again next week, 7:30, 8:30, possibly 9. But don't worry, y'all, to see me. Hey, y'all be blessed out there. Y'all have a good night, all right?